Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to wax the bottom of your ceramic pieces before you glaze. So for instance, we have got a bowl here. Before I glaze, I want to wax where the base touches the shelf. And the reason I want to do that is because if I glaze my piece with my glazes and then I go to fire it, that glaze will fire, turn to glass, and fuse to the shelving unit. We don't want that. The nice thing about the wax is that wax resists any water, right? And glazes are water based. So when I go to glaze the body of my piece, I can wipe off any excess glaze and then it won't fuse to the shelving. I usually use some pretty crummy brushes for this. Because this says it's water based, it says that you can wash these off with soap and water, so that way I can reuse the brush. Just kind of paint that on. So when you glaze a work of art, there is minor dripping that happens when it gets fired. So, because of gravity. So a lot of times I will be cautious and aware of a very small section around the edge of the piece where it goes up the wall or the body of the piece to account for any dripping of the sculpture. Now this divots in only a tiny bit. I'm going to actually bring my wax a little bit further up. I don't want this to stick to the shelf, of course. If I really feel like I need to be extra cautious, I could put this sculpture on a stilt, which will raise it from the shelf as well. Okay, so this runs up the foot of the piece just enough, the wax does, just enough that I can account for any dripping from gravity. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a shot. So yeah, you'll probably like the painted version of this better than the stamping. Sometimes I like to try a trial and error techniques, even if it is on video. That is going to resist glaze. So that's why you really want to be careful. Now, wax does allow you to do design effects as well. So this is not just to, um, for purposeful in the sense that I don't want it to stick to the shelf. What I can do, I can use this in a creative way. Let's say I glaze the whole body of my piece white. And then I could use a paintbrush and paint a design on top of the white glaze that has not been fired. And I paint that with the wax. Once the wax dries, I can then paint over the wax and the white glaze with another color, such as like something contrasting, such as blue or purple or black. The really great thing is that wax would resist that top color. And then when I fire it, the white design would show through, which would be pretty interesting. So I think I will try that out at some point. So that's our little waxing lesson. So I think, yes, we're going to either use a small handy sponge or a couple crummy paintbrushes. And I'll make a segment in here on how to proper clean off the brushes. So I just like to do a little wipe off, and then we'll have a container of solution to make sure that the brushes don't get too, roughed up. So there's our waxed bottoms. Remember, wax your bottom.